So, right now, India and France have already laid the foundation for their maritime cooperation. There's a maritime dialogue on maritime cooperation. Can you tell us some of the ways in which this can be expanded sustainably over the coming years, given that, like you said, maritime interests are so broadly defined and there is, scope for multiple forms of engagement between the two countries? How can they be expanded?
Well, as you said, India and France are already cooperating in naval and maritime fields. It started with the establishment of naval cooperation between our navies, performing joint exercises like Varuna, for example, whose 90th edition involving the participation of the French Navy aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle and its entire carrier strike group just completed. But our cooperation then intensified with the establishment in 2016 of the high-level dialogue focused solely on maritime issues. It took the form of reciprocal access to ports, or in February 2020, of a joint patrol in the South Indian Ocean. So, first, I think strengthening interoperability between our navies is, however, a priority. Another avenue for cooperation would be, to my opinion, to develop strategies, if not common, at least similar, systematically linking blue economy to securing maritime areas policies across the whole spectrum of risk and threat. And I think this approach could be jointly promoted in international fora. This could be accompanied by mutual support in this regional and multinational fora, as the announcement by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs during the last regional dialogue of French contribution to the Indian Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative in the field of the fight against IUU fishing goes in this direction. A third way of cooperation can be found around the issue of island. There are two aspects to consider, to my opinion. On the one hand, we must help these territories to develop their economy and to fight against global warming. On the other hand, we have to avoid territorial destabilization. One of your researchers, Darshana Beroa, proposal to favor sister island in this respect is a very interesting idea to explore, because France and India have complementary expertise in the knowledge of the island of the Indian Ocean, and very concrete partnership in the field of ecological restoration of coral reefs, for example, in the field of the duality of means at sea to fight against illegal fishing or illegal trafficking, or in the field of the fight against pollution at sea, where France has great expertise, could be considered. But beyond the island, common areas of effort must be found to stabilize the east coast of Africa and Mozambique Channel, where France and India have common interests, and where organized crime at sea is rising. And finally, one last field that I would like to mention, even if there are undoubtedly others, is not to limit our maritime partnerships to the Indian Ocean. I can take two examples where France and India have common interests and could work together: Gulf of Guinea and the Arctic Ocean. Many Indian crews and Indian sailors have fallen victim to piracy attacks in the Gulf of Guinea. And France, for its part, has recognized expertise in the region, coupled with a permanent naval presence since 1980. It's also hosts a maritime safety alert center in the Gulf of Guinea, which could benefit Indian sailors. So, increased information sharing in this area seems to be an interesting option and beneficial to both parties. When it comes to the Arctic, both France and India are observers of the Arctic Council. Our two countries are investing in polar research, and I think an increase in our cooperation in this sector to share on our analysis on climate change first, but also on the maritime and geopolitical upheavals that increase access to the Arctic Ocean, will be a great way to consider global maritime cooperation between our two countries.